last but not least, my name is Bev Pruden, and I'm so privileged by the Lord to be standing here today and sharing the wealth of His blessings in my life. And I hope I don't go on too long. I'll definitely use the 3 minutes that you suggested. I want to share with my journey a little bit, since I'm a lot older than a lot of people here. It might be interesting. As a young person emerging into adulthood, I truly felt lost. I had a desperate emptiness, and I struggled with it. I tried to fill it up, mostly by gaining the love and approval of other people. That's really all I knew, and so that's what I struggled to do, but it was never enough. And it always felt like there was like a bottomless pit in me, and I kept throwing, these affirmations that I would greedily collect into this pit, and it would just disappear. Nothing changed. God, in His mercy, kept holding on to me as that time passed, and I got through that. And the agony of that great emptiness subsided in my life. I met and married the love of my life, this guy right over here, and we had 3 precious children, which, wow, I can't even tell you what that meant to me. But this feeling inside was like the kind of part of the architecture of my inner life. It had contours, and I knew every contour, like, the inside, how the inside of your teeth feel, I never really forgot it, even though I wanted to. When the kids were little, we were invited by friends to attend a local church. I felt good about that. Rob was like, yeah, let's do it. So we happily attended there for quite some time. It's where we did get baptized. But I would say at that time I was not a believer, I was a belonger, which actually was a step forward for me. That felt really good, but there was something missing. And why wasn't I a believer? Well, I was ever so smart. And even though I really enjoyed the sense of belonging, I thought that at the bottom of all this, I was hearing at church, it was all cleverly devised fables, just like the scripture you read this morning, Pastor Ted, in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 16. And eventually I'd had enough. There's only so long, that you can go along with cleverly devised fables. So, luckily, I approached our pastor, and I said, hey, I love belonging to this church, but I have to be honest with you, I don't really believe the Bible. And I can't keep pretending it doesn't matter to me. Sooner or later, it's just not going to work. So he gave me a book. Good man. And I thank God for him. The book was called More Than a Carpenter. And More Than a Carpenter is a book about a man who kind of was in the same position that I was, but he decided to find out for himself, like why he could prove to Christians that this was cleverly devised fables. And he went through the whole process. And as I read his process, I realized I was wrong. I was wrong. Now, at first it was like, well, I was wrong that the Bible's definitely not true, but maybe it's not true still. But the more I read, I realized the Bible is true. And as that settled into these deep places, the architecture of my inner self began to change. And it wasn't a work of man or a work of myself. It was a work of God. And I felt it happen. It was very dramatic, to say the least. I felt this. I felt these strongholds of I would call it my vain intellect. Intellect is a gift, but in my case, it had gone to vanity. But these strongholds of vain intellect began to crack and tumble and crash down. And I lifted up my eyes, the eyes of my heart, and I beheld Christ on the cross. I see some nodding heads because you guys know what I mean. He died for me. I was a sinner. I needed forgiveness. And that's the only thing that gave me peace with God. And I knew it. And I was just amazed that he was there all along, waiting for me. and I was washed clean. So my life was forever changed. And it was right around that time I remembered that long, sort of forgotten emptiness that I had felt, and I realized it wasn't there anymore. So you guys have heard the expression, a God-sized hole. Well, I would say that was an accurate description of the mystery of how God, gave me salvation. So the God-sized hole was filled, and that emptiness was gone. And it has been ever since. And yes, I'm an idiot sometimes, but I trust him. He's going to keep me close, and I will strive to be close. So my verse is from Romans, and it's chapter 5, verse 8. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Thank you.